A painful lump appears under your arm. You ignore it. By night, your body burns with fever.
The
People in your
pestilence
street
has
start
come,
dying. No
and
one
with
knows
it,
why.
A city falls
No cure,
silent.
no warning. It's 1348. The Black Death has arrived in Europe, and if you were here, you would not survive. So what actually killed you? The year before the plague, life was hard, but normal. You're a peasant. You wake before dawn. You eat a piece of black bread so dense it could break a tooth. You work the fields from sunrise to sunset. You're thin, you're tired, and you're hungry most of the time. Famine had already swept Europe just 30 years earlier. Your body is weak. Your immune system? A memory. You live in a small village, maybe 50 people. Everyone knows everyone. You share water from the same muddy stream. You sleep next to your pigs in winter to stay warm. You've never seen a doctor. You've never washed your hands for health. Germs? Bacteria? Those words don't exist. The church tells you disease is punishment from God. Bad air, miasma, causes sickness. You believe this because you have no other explanation. And because of that belief, you are already dead. You just don't know it yet. It starts with ships. 12 Genoese trading vessels. They've been sailing the Black Sea. In a city called Kaffa, something went wrong. The story says plague had broken the siege. The ships? They brought something worse. In October 1347, they dock in Messina, Sicily. The harbour master sees the sailors. Most are dead. The rest are covered in black boils, leaking fluid, barely breathing. He orders them away. Too late. Within days, the city of Messina is collapsing. People drop dead in the streets. Mothers abandon children. Priests refuse last rites. Nobody knows what this is, but they have a name for it. The Great Mortality. We call it the Black Death, and in just 5 years, it will kill up to 50 million people. That's more than the entire population of modern-day Spain, Italy, France, and Germany combined. But here's the terrifying part. You won't see it coming until it's inside you. Let's be precise. You don't catch the Black Death by breathing the same air. You catch it from fleas.
This was the
Rat
reality
fleas.
for much of Europe during the Black
Specifically,
Death.
fleas that
A
feed
city
on
choked
infected
by
black
overcrowding
rats.
and wuhui, where
When
the
the
most
rat
we sell
dies,
the fung
the
seed
flea
have done a
jumps to
rat's
you.
playground.
It bites and vomits thousands of Yersinia pestis bacteria directly into your bloodstream. Then the clock starts. Day 1. Mild headache, fatigue. You think you worked too hard. Day 2. Fever spikes, vomiting, muscle pain so severe it feels like your bones are twisting. Day 3. The buboes appear. These are swollen lymph nodes. They grow to the size of an apple, sometimes a fist. They turn purple, then black. They ooze pus and blood. You can't move your neck. You can't lower your arm. The pain is described by survivors as worse than childbirth or being burned alive. Day 4. Internal bleeding. Black spots spread across your skin. That's where the name Black Death comes from. Not the buboes, the hemorrhages. Day 5. You start coughing. If you have pneumonic plague, which spreads to the lungs, every cough sprays bacteria into the air. Now you infect your own family with a single breath. Day 6. Delirium. You see things. You scream at demons. You beg God for mercy. Day 7. You stop breathing. 70 to 90% of untreated bubonic plague victims die. Pneumonic plague? Almost 100%. And remember, there is no treatment. Now you might think, I'm smart. I'd run away. I'd wash my hands. But here's why you'd still die. First, nobody knows about germs, not even the best doctors. In 1347, European physicians believe disease comes from corrupted air. Their solution? Carry flowers, burn herbs, open windows. They're not entirely wrong about bad air, but they're not right enough to save you. Second, medieval medicine is terrifying. Doctors will cut your veins to balance the humours. They'll make you drink vinegar. They'll strap live chickens to your buboes to draw out the poison. One popular treatment involves scraping your boils and applying a paste of tree resin, rose oil, and human feces. You'd refuse, right? But here's the trap. If you refuse, your family will force you, because they believe these treatments work. And if you die anyway, they'll say God willed it. Third, quarantine is brutal. Some cities try isolation. In Venice, ships must wait 40 days, 40 giorni, before landing. That's where the word quarantine comes from. But cities are overcrowded. Rats ignore quarantine. And you? If you show symptoms, you'll be locked in your house with the dead. Guards watch the doors. No food comes. No help arrives. You won't escape the plague. You'll just die alone. Let me place you inside a medieval city. Paris, Florence, London. 1348. The streets are narrow. No sunlight reaches the ground. Human waste flows through open gutters. Butchers throw animal blood and organs into the same water you drink. Rats are everywhere. They nest in your straw mattress. They chew your grain. They crawl over you while you sleep. Fleas live in the rats, and now, in your clothes, in your hair, on your skin. You don't feel the bite. You'll never know when it happened. By spring, the dead pile up. Gravediggers die so fast that new ones are hired every hour. Mass graves are dug, then filled, then covered with a thin layer of dirt, then more bodies. In London, one cemetery buries over 200 bodies a day, every day, for months. Priests refuse to hear confessions. They're too afraid to enter homes. The church, the one thing you trusted, collapses. Parents abandon children. Husbands flee wives. One chronicler writes, "No one wept for the dead because everyone expected to die themselves." That's the psychological horror, not just the pain, the certainty. You know you will die. You just don't know when. Yes, some did, but not because they were stronger or smarter. Survivors had one thing: luck. If you were a noble, you had slightly better odds. You could flee to a remote castle. You could stop trading. But nobles died too. Kings died. Queens died. The Archbishop of Canterbury died. If you were poor, your chance of survival was near zero. Overcrowding, malnutrition, no ability to isolate. But here's the strange truth: some people were naturally immune. Modern genetics has found a mutation called CCR5 delta 32. It protects against certain diseases. About 10% of Europeans today have it. In the 1300s, it was rarer. Those people survived. They didn't know why. They just woke up one morning, watched their whole family die, and stayed alive. That's not bravery, that's biology. So ask yourself, do you have that mutation? Probably not, which means, back in 1347, you'd be one of the millions buried in a pit. Here's what you wouldn't believe, even if you survived. The Black Death didn't just kill people, it destroyed everything. Entire villages vanished from maps. Fields went unploughed. Sheep wandered without shepherds. For years, Europe smelled of rotting flesh. But then, something strange happened. With half the workforce dead, survivors could demand higher wages. Peasants left their lords. The feudal system cracked. For the first time, ordinary people had power. The church lost authority. When priests ran away or refused last rites, people stopped believing. New religious movements rose. Some turned to extreme flagellation, whipping themselves to beg God's forgiveness. Others abandoned faith entirely. Medicine changed. Doctors realized miasma wasn't enough. They started observing symptoms, tracking outbreaks, questioning old ideas. The first public health boards appeared. Quarantine became standard. The world after 1350 was not the same as before. But you? You wouldn't see that world. You'd be dead by Christmas. Let's return to that morning. You wake up. Headache, swollen neck, fever. You don't know about bacteria. You don't know about fleas. You don't know that the rat in your kitchen is already dead. You call for your mother. She brings a priest. He says to pray. Your neighbor suggests cutting your vein. Your wife boils herbs. Your child brings water from the same stream where rats drowned upstream. Within a week, your skin turns black. Within 2 weeks, your whole family is gone, and the world continues without you. The Black Death was not a war, not a famine, not a natural disaster. It was a biological event so fast, so brutal, so incomprehensible that survivors didn't know how to describe it. But now you know. You wouldn't survive because you couldn't see it. You couldn't stop it. And by the time you felt the first headache, it was already over. So here's the final question. You're back in the 21st century. Antibiotics exist. Science works. But if a new plague came tomorrow, silent, fast, invisible, would you see it in time? Or would you wake up one morning with a headache?